Salutations gamers, this is Frags coming to you with another video, this time not talking about games but the people who make them, more specifically Microsoft and the soon to be acquired Activision Blizzard. It's still not a confirmed deal but it's getting close. I heard that the FTC are appealing the decision and I'd rather not comment about the legal wranglings of this case as I'm no legal. But what I'd like to talk about is what would happen, or rather could potentially happen, if Microsoft and Activision Blizzard becomes one of the biggest and powerful game publishing blocks in the world. You know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So let's get on with it, and the first thing is how this could potentially be a big boost for Xbox and PC Game Pass. Now, Game Pass has lately been under scrutiny for some pretty mediocre offerings, and the service has also been losing games monthly from their catalog. Without having any new exciting games entering the service, it all feels like a net deficit for them, and especially to how gamers feel about Game Pass. Everyone's spinning their hopes on Starfield to be the killer game to make it, well, great again. But with Activision Blizzard under the Microsoft stable, Game Pass could get a massive boost. However, I would like to caution anyone who has the idea that the entire Blizzard and COD franchise would be available on Game Pass. No, I don't think that will happen. You see, Blizzard and Call of Duty are one of the biggest game developers and game franchise in the world. They have legions of fans who would buy the games, so it doesn't have to be free with a Game Pass sub. If Diablo 4 was any indication, Blizzard has a pretty healthy profit using their more traditional sales model, albeit on a higher sale price, I'm not bitter about that, I just spent a little bit about 300 ringgit in Malaysian currency for D4. Anyway, if these companies can continue to charge people and rake in the dough, there is very little incentive to put them on Game Pass. However, I do believe that older titles could well go on the platform. Games like StarCraft, Diablo, Warcraft 3, and maybe even the classic CODs. This will still be a big W for Microsoft and for gamers too. Okay, so the other thing that might change a little, I certainly hope we'll see higher quality games from these companies, with Microsoft, Blizzard, and some extent Activision sharing their combined knowledge and expertise. I believe they could ramp up the quality by a bit, maybe more than a bit, especially after the disastrous launch of Redfall, which everyone agrees was an unmitigated disaster. I think Microsoft will be taking a more hands-on approach and having more of a say on the games under their stable, which I think this was said by Phil Spencer in an interview, that he wished that they had been more involved with Redfall. I'm paraphrasing, don't quote me on that, but since Redfall I can see Microsoft being more hands-on, and that could be a good thing, or it could also lead to delays, or what they say about too many cooks. It's a tough situation for the game studios, but it could be a good thing for gamers. Before getting to my next point, here's a word from our sponsor. So, Tag is my newest project, my baby, and it really is a baby at this moment. We're not just a design company, we are gamers who want to design merchandise that gamers like you would want. And we are also making it affordable, meaningful, and beautiful. As a small Malaysian brand, we don't do international shipping at this point in time. Due to the whole cost of it, it simply doesn't make sense. But your support in any way would mean the world to us. If you're in Malaysia, go get our Tag Loot. The e-commerce system we use is really easy to use and it's safe. If you're outside of Malaysia, check the site out, share some feedback with us, or just tell your friends about it. As I said, it's a baby and we really need you for it to succeed. Thank you so much, and back to the video. So yes, a happy employee makes a better product. Okay, so this one's straight out from like a tycoon game, I suppose. There's been a lot of rumors and talk about the crap that goes on in Activision Blizzard. Boardroom drama, toxic stuff, you name it. Ex-employees have accused them of almost anything under the sun. Now, Microsoft are no angels. Granted, in the grand scheme of things in the game industry, they aren't exactly seen as the evil empire in gaming. That now falls squarely on Okay, never mind. That's for another video, I suppose. I'll give them props where they did well. Phil Spencer has definitely done a great job giving Team Xbox a more positive outlook, even if the games haven't been awesome of late. But it's coming from a good place. The language they've used have always been focused on making stuff gamers would love. But that could all be, just a smokescreen and PR speak for all I know. If there is any truth to it, if Microsoft could be a positive influence to Activision Blizzard, bringing a more positive work culture, a better deal for the devs, this could ultimately mean good things for everyone, including us gamers. I don't think they are just going to change the culture of a big company like Activision Blizzard in a single day. This could take years or maybe never. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. My physics teacher taught me this, and I think it's very true of the world. With Microsoft Activision Blizzard essentially becoming the biggest gaming company in the world, unless if you count Tencent or someone else from China that I'm forgetting, I'm not sure here. There is definitely going to be a reaction from Sony. They could acquire other game developers and publishers themselves, or more realistically, if they didn't have the financial capability of doing that, they could work out an alliance with partnered publishers. We could see the game industry split between the Microsoft camp and the Sony camp. And that's an interesting predicament. I've never really imagined that video game industry would come to this point. Sony, without a doubt, I believe, will do something about this. But if it ends up with another big acquisition on Sony's side, now you have a clash of titans. I'm not sure whether this is going to be absolutely devastating to the gaming industry or if this is going to be a good thing with competition. But even if you think about competition, this is kind of a weird sort of competition. Instead of many developers, you have two giants, an oligopoly, which is defined as a state of limited competition where the market is shared by a small number of producers that I assume are mega corporations. This, in theory, does not bode well for us. Now this relates to my next point. With all this going down, we could probably see an increase in the number of console exclusives. I think Sony could really double down here and go really hard on console exclusives and make more partnerships with all these other publishers and developers. Sony could say, hey, make me a certain number of games under your stable exclusively for my PlayStation platform. I don't think PC gaming will be affected as much since Microsoft doesn't really earn anything if you sell on Steam. But on consoles, this could be like a step back, like the old days of consoles where exclusivity reigned supreme and gamers were poorer for that. Yes, we ultimately are the losers to console exclusive. Video games should be available to as many people as possible in an ideal world, but it is what it is. But that's just my rambling suppositions. What do you think will happen? Is it a good thing or the beginning of a nightmare for the industry? Tell me in the comments, guys. Okay, so this is Frag signing off. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!